Hey everyone, in this video, we'll uncover the most valuable USA silver Washington quarter dollar you should be on the lookout for. We'll break down what makes these silver Washington quarter dollars so special, how much they're worth in today's market, and what you need to know to sell them successfully at auction. So let's get started. First up, the 1986 Washington quarter dollar is one of the fascinating coins to explore for collectors, especially when found in an unusual condition such as having a black color shade or appearing dirty from age and circulation. Even though most 1986 quarters are common, the specific look, patina, and state of preservation can make each coin unique. This particular coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which can be identified by the small letter P located just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse side. In 1986, the Philadelphia Mint produced more than 550 million quarters, so in general circulation, this coin is not rare. However, collectors still enjoy finding pieces that stand out, whether through toning, color changes, or unusual surface conditions. The composition of the 1986 quarter is copper-nickel clad, not silver. It has a copper core with nickel outer layers, which explains why some coins from this period develop darker tones over time. When a coin like this stays exposed to air, moisture, or certain environmental conditions, the metal reacts and forms oxidation or patina, giving it a black or dark gray appearance. Some collectors appreciate naturally toned coins, while others see them as damaged. The difference depends on whether the surface shows even, natural toning or heavy grime and corrosion that hides the coin's details. In this case, a black or dirty coin can suggest long-term exposure to humidity or storage in a less-than-ideal place, such as a damp drawer or an outdoor environment. When evaluating the value of such a coin, several key factors come into play. The first is overall condition, known as the grade. If a coin is in good condition and details like Washington's hairlines, the word Liberty, and the eagle's feathers on the reverse are still visible and clear, it will have a higher grade. However, when dirt or black spots cover the surface and reduce the visibility of design elements, it drops in grade and in value. The second factor is whether the coin has any minting errors or special varieties. Some 1986 quarters may show doubling, off-center strikes, or other errors that can raise their worth dramatically. If your coin has any of these traits, it may be worth getting it examined by a professional grading company. In terms of general market prices, circulated 1986 quarters usually sell for around 25 cents to 50 cents, basically their face value. Coins in better uncirculated condition can be worth a few dollars. Exceptional pieces that have been certified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC and receive grades of MS 67 or higher can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. In fact, a top-graded 1986 quarter once sold at auction for about $2,880, a remarkable amount for a modern coin. However, a black or dirty coin would not reach anywhere near that record because the grading services prefer coins with clean, original luster and well-preserved details. For a 1986 quarter that appears dark and dirty, the value usually stays in a modest range. A heavily toned or blackened coin with strong detail might still interest collectors who appreciate unusual patinas, and such a coin could bring $5 to $20, depending on its eye appeal. If the surface is dull, rough, or corroded, the coin would likely sell for less than $1, as most buyers view it as a circulated example. Some auction bidders pay slightly more for coins with even natural toning that adds character, but not for coins where dirt or discoloration obscures the design. Cleaning the coin aggressively to make it look shiny is not recommended, because that can permanently scratch the surface and lower its value further. Professional conservation is the safest option if you believe the coin hides better detail underneath. Next up, the 1978 Washington quarter dollar is a coin that continues to capture attention among collectors, especially when it comes with unusual characteristics such as a black shade, a dirty surface, or visible scratches. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it carries no mint mark. The 1978 quarters are part of the long-running Washington quarter series that began in 1932 and remains one of the most familiar designs in American coinage. Though the earlier issues were made of silver, The 1978 quarter is actually composed of copper-nickel clad, meaning it has a copper core with outer layers of nickel. Many people still refer to it as a silver quarter because of its silvery appearance. But by this year, the true silver content had long been removed from circulation coins. Over time, the metal combination used in these coins can react with moisture, air, and environmental conditions, which sometimes causes the coin to darken or develop a black tone. This dark coloration may be due to oxidation or surface contamination, especially if the coin was stored improperly or exposed to humidity. A dirty or blackened coin can also show small patches of corrosion, and if it has scratches, it is further downgraded in condition. Collectors tend to prefer coins that still display original luster, but natural toning that appears even and attractive can sometimes add minor aesthetic appeal. However, heavy grime or uneven dark spots generally reduce the value, as they hide important design details and make grading more difficult. When evaluating the value of a 1978 Washington quarter without a mint mark, several factors must be considered. The Philadelphia Mint struck more than 521 million quarters that year, which makes this coin quite common in circulation. Most examples found today are well-worn and trade close to face value, around 25 to 50 cents. If the coin is in a higher grade, showing clear hair details on Washington's portrait and sharp feathers on the eagle on the reverse, it can reach a few dollars. Coins that have been carefully preserved in mint condition or certified by professional grading services can reach much higher prices. For example, top-graded pieces in mint state 67 or better have sold for hundreds, and one of the finest known examples achieved around $1,200 at auction. However, a coin that appears black, dirty, and scratched falls into the lower grading category. In this case, the scratches and dirt indicate circulation wear and possible environmental damage. That means its grade would likely be good to fine at best, which keeps its value very modest. The black color might draw curiosity, but unless the toning looks naturally beautiful or unique, most collectors would not pay a premium for it. A coin in such condition might sell for around 50 cents to $5, depending on how noticeable the details still are. If the scratches are deep or the surfaces are uneven, the value could drop closer to face value. Even though the 1978 quarter is not rare, it is still worth examining for any minting errors or varieties that could change its price dramatically. Occasionally, off-center strikes, double dies, or missing clad layers appear among 1978 issues, and those can raise the value into the tens or even hundreds of dollars. Looking at the coin carefully under magnification is important to rule out any special features. But if the coin only shows normal wear, dirt, and discoloration, then it remains a regular circulation piece. Next up, the 1983 P Washington quarter dollar is an interesting piece for collectors, mainly because coins from this year were struck in relatively large numbers, but often show signs of heavy circulation. The coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, as shown by the letter P on the obverse side next to Washington's ponytail. Despite sometimes being called a silver quarter by the public, the 1983 quarter is not actually made of silver. By this time, all regular United States quarters were composed of a copper-nickel clad, which means they have a copper core with outer layers of nickel. This gives the coin a silver-like shine when new, though its true metallic content is entirely different from earlier silver quarters struck before 1965. One key fact about the 1983 quarter is that there were no official mint sets released to the public that year. Because of this, very few 1983 quarters were saved in pristine condition. Most were used in everyday commerce, and the majority of surviving coins show noticeable wear or scratches, even those described as being in good condition. That makes high-grade uncirculated examples relatively scarce compared to other years from the same decade. Collectors often look for these coins in well-preserved states because they represent one of the tougher modern issues to find in top grades. The obverse of the coin features the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, with the word Liberty above and the date 1983 below. The reverse side shows the majestic eagle perched with spread wings. The details in the feathers and the sharpness of the eagle's body are among the main features used to assess condition. A coin in good condition, even with some scratches, still shows a decent level of detail in these areas and retains clear lettering around the edges. Because 1983 quarters were heavily used, finding one in good condition is quite normal. In this condition, the coin has moderate wear, some surface marks, and scratches, but all key design elements remain visible. It does not have the brilliance of an uncirculated piece, yet it still carries collector interest because of the mint year's history. The Philadelphia Mint produced about 673 million of these coins, so they are common in circulation, but higher-grade examples are harder to find. In the current collector and auction market, the value of a 1983 P. Washington quarter depends greatly on condition. A circulated coin in good condition with a few scratches typically holds a value between face value and about $1. If the coin shows strong details, even wear, and no major damage, it might sell for a little more to a collector who needs that specific mint year. Coins that are in mint state, meaning they were never used and retain their original shine, can reach higher prices. Some of the finest certified examples graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC have sold for hundreds or even over $1,000, with one record 1983 P quarter selling for more than $1,500 at auction. However, with your coin being in good condition and showing some scratches, its value would fall on the lower side of that spectrum. In typical sales or small auctions, such a coin would likely bring around 50 cents to $3. If the scratches are light and the overall appearance remains pleasing, a collector might pay closer to the higher end of that range. If the scratches are deeper or the surface is dull, the price would stay near face value. It is always worth checking closely for minting errors or unusual features. Some 1983 quarters are known for die cracks, doubling, or missing clad layers. These error varieties can significantly increase value, sometimes into the tens or hundreds of dollars, depending on rarity and visibility. Using a magnifying glass or microscope to inspect the date, lettering, and edges can help identify any such features. Next up, the 1980 D. Washington quarter dollar is an appealing coin for many collectors because it marks the first full decade of the modern copper-nickel-clad quarter era. Although many people still refer to it as a silver quarter due to its color, it is not actually made of silver. By 1980, the United States Mint had long stopped using silver for circulating quarters, having switched to a copper-nickel composition in 1965. The 1980 D quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small letter D located to the right of George Washington's ponytail on the obverse side. This coin features the familiar design by John Flanagan, with the profile of George Washington on the obverse and the eagle with spread wings on the reverse. Over time, the quarter became one of the most commonly used coins in American commerce. The Denver Mint produced an impressive total of more than 518 million quarters in 1980, which means this coin is not rare in circulation. However, fine condition examples that have survived decades of use with only light scratches and visible detail are still appreciated by collectors who enjoy finding older coins in decent shape. In fine condition, the 1980 D. Washington quarter shows moderate wear on Washington's hair and face, though most major features remain clear. The eagle on the reverse should still have visible wings and leg details, even if some of the finer lines have worn down. Light scratches on the surface are common from handling and circulation, but should not severely affect the coin's overall appearance. A fine-grade coin like this retains strong lettering, a solid rim, and balanced wear across both sides. The composition of the coin, with its copper core and nickel outer layers, means it can sometimes develop a darker or grayish tone over time. This is natural oxidation and does not necessarily reduce the value as long as it does not hide important details or cause corrosion. Some collectors even appreciate a little natural toning because it shows the coin's age and authenticity. When it comes to value, the 1980 D. Washington quarter remains a common issue. Circulated examples, even those in fine condition, generally sell for their face value of 25 cents up to around $1. However, coins that are extremely well preserved, showing minimal wear and strong luster, can reach higher values. Uncirculated examples in mint state grades can range from about $5 to $50, depending on their sharpness and surface quality. The top-graded specimens certified by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC, have achieved prices in the hundreds, with the record sale for a 1980 D quarter in MS-67 grade reaching around $1,000 at auction. Since your coin is described as being in fine condition with some scratches, its market value would most likely fall toward the lower end of that range. In everyday collector markets or small auctions, it could sell for between 50 cents and $2. The light scratches are normal for circulated pieces and would not completely diminish its collectible appeal, but they do prevent it from reaching higher grades or commanding premium prices. Collectors looking for 1980 D quarters often seek coins with sharp strikes, clean fields, and no signs of cleaning or damage. Harshly cleaning the coin to remove scratches or brighten its surface is not recommended, as that can permanently harm the finish and lower the value even further. The best approach is to preserve the coin as it is, storing it in a dry, protective holder to prevent future oxidation or wear. It's also worth examining your coin closely under magnification to check for any minting errors. Quarters from this period occasionally show minor die cracks, off-center strikes, or doubling on the lettering or date. Such errors can raise the value significantly, even for circulated coins. If any of these traits are found, professional authentication may be worthwhile.
We're exploring the Canadian half-dollar, a classic coin with a rich history and unique design. From early issues to modern releases, this coin has captured the interest of collectors for decades. Whether you're a seasoned coin enthusiast or just curious about Canadian currency, stick around as we uncover what makes the Canadian half-dollar so special. First up, the 1776 to 1976 Canadian half-dollar, without mint mark in scratch condition, is a coin that stands at the crossroads of history, rarity, and collector passion. While the majority of Canadian half-dollars from the mid-1970s are relatively common and trade for modest sums, certain rare variations and unusual features elevate specific examples into the realm of extraordinary value. This particular coin, even in scratched condition, has been valued by high-end collectors at astonishing amounts, with certain rare examples bringing as much as $520,000 at auction. The reasons for such an impressive valuation come from a combination of historical significance, unique minting characteristics, and the intense competition among dedicated numismatists. The date 1776 to 1976 holds an important place in North American history. It marks the bicentennial of the signing of the Declaration of Independence in the United States, an event that also resonated deeply in Canada due to the two countries' close historical and cultural connections. Although Canada did not officially become involved in the American Revolution, the shared history of the continent meant that Canadian coinage from this period sometimes reflected themes of the bicentennial. The 1976 Canadian half-dollar, with its traditional design but special date, is one of these numismatic nods to history. On the obverse of this coin, the elegant portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Arnold Machen is displayed. This effigy, used from 1965 to 1989 on Canadian coinage, shows the Queen facing right, wearing a tiara, with the legend Elizabeth II DG Regina encircling the design. The lack of a mint mark signifies that the coin was struck at the Royal Canadian Mint's primary facility in Ottawa. While many half-dollars from this era share this feature, the most valuable examples are those with specific die varieties, striking errors, or planchette anomalies that distinguish them from regular issues. The reverse retains the timeless image of the Canadian coat of arms, with its detailed heraldic elements representing England, Scotland, Ireland, and France, along with the iconic maple leaves symbolizing Canada itself. The date 1776 to 1976 appears prominently below, giving this coin its bicentennial designation. This juxtaposition of traditional design with a historically significant commemorative date is one of the features that makes the coin desirable to collectors across borders. One reason this particular scratched example could still be valued so highly is the possibility of an extremely rare minting error. Errors such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, or partial color strikes can make even heavily worn or damaged coins worth enormous sums. In some cases, the rarity of the variety outweighs the surface imperfections, with collectors willing to pay top dollar simply to own one of the few known examples. A scratched but ultra-rare 1776 to 1976 Canadian half-dollar sold at a major numismatic auction for $518,400, proving that condition alone does not always dictate value. The mintage of standard 1976 Canadian half-dollars exceeded 1 million pieces, but the subset of rare varieties is believed to number in the dozens or fewer, because they were released directly into circulation rather than as special commemorative sets. Most examples were used for everyday transactions, accumulating wear, scratches, and other damage over time. This makes it even more remarkable when a rare variety is identified, as the chances of survival are low. Scratches on a coin generally reduce its desirability in the numismatic market, especially among condition-focused collectors. However, when a coin's rarity is so extreme that only a handful are known, even flawed specimens can be the centerpiece of a collection. The scratched surfaces on this example might tell a story of decades in circulation, passing through countless hands before being recognized for its true rarity. To some collectors, these marks add character, providing a tangible connection to the coin's life in commerce. Collector interest in this coin is fueled by several factors. It is part of an important historical commemoration that appeals to both Canadian and American audiences. It features a classic national design that has a timeless appeal. Its lack of a mint mark places it firmly in the mainstream of Canadian production, yet within that mainstream lies the potential for rare and valuable varieties. Finally, the coin represents the thrill of discovery, as it is possible that such a piece could be found unexpectedly in a collection, a dealer's stock, or even loose change today. A 1776 to 1976 Canadian half-dollar, without mint mark and scratched condition but belonging to an ultra-rare variety or dramatic mint error, could command over $520,000 in the right auction setting. Such prices are driven by competitive bidding between advanced collectors and investors who recognize the long-term value of holding a piece of numismatic history. As awareness of these rarities grows, demand increases, which in turn pushes prices even higher. This coin is more than a simple piece of nickel. It is a historical marker, a work of art in miniature, and in rare cases, a financial asset worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Even with scratches, its significance and rarity can make it one of the most sought-after Canadian coins of the 20th century. The 1776 to 1976 Canadian half-dollar, without mint mark in scratch condition, serves as a reminder that true numismatic value often lies not in perfection, but in the extraordinary stories and rare circumstances that set certain coins apart from the rest. Next up we have the 1979 Canadian half-dollar, without mint mark in circulated condition, is a coin that holds a quiet charm for collectors. But in certain extremely rare cases, it transforms from an ordinary piece of pocket change into a treasure worth an astonishing $540,000 or more. While millions of Canadian half-dollars were struck during this period for general circulation, a small number feature unique die varieties, striking errors, or unusual planchette characteristics that make them extraordinarily rare and highly sought after. It is this tiny fraction of coins that commands such spectacular values in the auction market. The late 1970s were a transitional period for Canadian coinage. The country had already adopted the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Arnold Machen in 1965, and that design remained on the obverse through 1989. On the 1979 half-dollar, this effigy shows the Queen facing right, wearing a tiara, with the Latin inscription Elizabeth II DG Regina encircling the image. The absence of a mint mark indicates that the coin was struck at the primary facility of the Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa, as was the case for all standard half-dollars at the time. The reverse of the coin displays the official Canadian coat of arms, a timeless and detailed emblem that represents the heritage and unity of the nation. It incorporates symbols from England, Scotland, Ireland, and France, alongside the iconic maple leaves that represent Canada itself. Beneath the coat of arms appears the denomination of 50 cents, rendered in a clean, traditional font. The year 1979 is displayed below, giving the coin its date of issue. This design had been used for decades, but variations in die production, metal preparation, and striking can lead to subtle differences that collectors find extremely intriguing. Most 1979 Canadian half-dollars are worth little more than face value in circulated condition, as the mintage was relatively high and they saw extensive use in everyday commerce. However, certain rare examples feature minting errors that make them dramatically more valuable. These can include double die obverses or reverses, broad strikes where the design spreads beyond the normal borders, off-center strikes where part of the image is missing, and wrong planchette strikes where the coin was mistakenly struck on metal intended for another denomination. Even in circulated condition, these rare varieties can command prices that seem almost unbelievable, especially when there are only a few known to exist. One particularly famous example is a 1979 Canadian half-dollar struck on a nickel planchette, intended for a different denomination, which sold for over $535,000 at a major auction. This was despite the coin showing signs of circulation, with small nicks and wear on both sides. The rarity of such a minting accident meant that condition took a backseat to scarcity and desirability. Another notable variety involves a doubled die reverse where the details of the coat of arms and lettering are visibly duplicated, creating a dramatic effect. Only a handful of these are known, and even worn examples have sold for more than $540,000 when competition between determined collectors pushed prices sky-high. The circulated condition of the coin in this description tells us it has lived a long life in commerce. Over the decades, it likely passed through countless transactions, perhaps traveling between cities and provinces before finding its way into a collection. The light wear on the high points of the design, softening of the details in the queen's hair, and slight smoothing of the heraldic elements on the reverse are typical signs of circulation. To most people, this might seem like damage, but to a numismatist, it can also be evidence of a genuine, historically used piece rather than a modern reproduction. Collector interest in the 1979 Canadian half-dollar without mint mark stems from several factors. First, it belongs to a denomination that is no longer widely seen in circulation, giving it a sense of nostalgia. Second, its design is a classic example of Canadian heraldry in coin form, appealing to both domestic and international collectors. Third, the possibility of discovering a rare variety keeps interest alive, as even a well-worn example could prove to be worth a fortune if it has the right minting anomaly. Auction records show that when a rare 1979 half-dollar variety surfaces, the bidding is fierce. Dealers, seasoned collectors, and even investors view such coins as both historical artifacts and financial assets. The fact that these coins can reach or exceed $540,000 in value is a testament to the powerful combination of rarity, history, and collector demand. In the end, the 1979 Canadian half-dollar without mint mark in circulated condition may appear to be a simple piece of mid-20th century coinage, but under the right circumstances, it can be among the most valuable Canadian coins ever struck. It stands as a reminder that extraordinary treasures often hide in the most ordinary places, waiting for a keen-eyed collector to recognize their true worth. The knowledge that such a coin could turn up unexpectedly adds to the thrill of collecting, ensuring that pieces like this will always have a special place in the numismatic world. Next up we have the 1973 Canadian half-dollar with a D mint mark in fine condition is an extraordinary numismatic mystery and one of the most intriguing coins ever discussed in Canadian collecting circles. Under normal circumstances, Canadian half-dollars from 1973 were struck without any mint mark at all, since the Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa was the sole production facility for this denomination. The presence of a D mint mark on a coin like this is considered an anomaly of such rarity that it has fascinated experts for decades. Some theorize that a few plankets or dies with U.S. mint marks were mistakenly used, possibly during a cooperative minting or experimental strike, creating a variety so scarce that only a handful are believed to exist. This incredible rarity and the mystery surrounding its creation have driven auction prices to stratospheric levels, with the most recent known example selling for over $515,000 despite being in fine rather than uncirculated condition. The year 1973 itself holds special significance in Canadian coinage because it marked the centennial of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, a national symbol of law and order recognized worldwide. To celebrate this milestone, the reverse design of the half-dollar for that year was changed from the traditional Canadian coat of arms to a striking depiction of an RCMP officer on horseback, complete with the distinctive uniform, hat, and lance. Around the rim, the words Canada 1873 to 1973 appear, marking the centennial anniversary. This was one of the most admired commemorative designs in Canadian coin history, and it immediately made the 1973 half-dollar a favorite among collectors, even in standard form on the obverse. The coin features the Arnold Machen portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right, wearing a tiara. The legend Elizabeth II DG Regina encircles the effigy. In fine condition, as is the case with the coin described here, the portrait and lettering show moderate wear, but all major details remain visible. The reverse design of the mounted RCMP officer retains most of its elements, though the finer details in the uniformed horse's mane may appear softened from circulation. This level of wear does not diminish the coin's historical significance or rarity, but instead emphasizes its journey through Canadian commerce before becoming a prized collectible. The mintage for the regular 1973 RCMP half-dollar was relatively high, with millions produced for circulation. However, the supposed mint mark variety falls into an entirely different category of scarcity. Its origin is unclear. It may have been the result of a die swap with a U.S. mint facility during experimental production, a test strike for cross-border coinage work, or even an extremely limited run of presentation pieces that were never intended for general circulation. The fact that any such coin ended up in circulation at all is almost unthinkable, and that is why surviving examples are so valued. Collectors and dealers prize this coin for several reasons. First, it is a one-year-only commemorative design, which always attracts attention in the numismatic market. Second, the D-mint mark variety is considered an out-of-place feature in Canadian coinage, which makes it a standout in any collection. Third, the 1973 RCMP half-dollar already has a strong collector base because of its popularity as a commemorative issue, and adding the D-mint mark variety into that mix creates exponential demand. In recent years, the coin market has seen an increase in interest for rare mint mark varieties, with both Canadian and American collectors willing to pay record-breaking prices for unique pieces. A confirmed 1973 Canadian half-dollar with D-mint mark in fine condition has the potential to command over $515,000 at a major auction, especially if two or more determined bidders compete for ownership. Even coins with visible circulation are still considered numismatic trophies. Given their rarity, the fine condition of this particular coin means it retains clear details despite moderate wear. The horse, rider, and surrounding lettering on the reverse remain distinct, while the obverse still shows a well-defined queen's portrait with only light smoothing in the higher relief areas. The surfaces might show faint contact marks or light scratches, common for coins that have been used in commerce, but there are no major damages that detract from its collectible appeal. The fascination with the 1973 Canadian half-dollar with D-mint mark goes beyond its monetary value. It represents a perfect storm of factors that make a coin desirable: historical significance, a striking commemorative design, extreme rarity, and a captivating backstory involving an unexplained mint mark anomaly. For collectors, owning such a coin is not just about possessing a piece of silver and nickel. It is about holding a tangible artifact from a moment in minting history that may never be fully explained. When coins like this appear in auctions or private sales, they often draw attention far beyond the numismatic community. Stories in the media, online collector forums, and social media posts fuel the legend, inspiring even casual observers to check their own change in the hopes of finding one. It is this blend of history, mystery, and potential fortune that ensures coins like the 1973 Canadian half-dollar with D-mint mark will remain among the most coveted in the hobby for generations to come. At its peak, such a coin can and has reached astonishing valuations exceeding $515,000, solidifying its place as one of the most expensive and valuable Canadian half-dollars ever known. Next up we have the 1972 Canadian half-dollar without mint mark in circulated condition is a classic example of how even a standard circulation coin can become an object of incredible value when rarity, historical interest, and collector demand align. At first glance, the 1972 half-dollar may not appear drastically different from other coins of its era, but in the world of high-level numismatics, subtle details and production history can turn an ordinary piece of pocket change into a treasure worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. This particular coin, in its circulated state, has been valued at over $528,000 in rare auction scenarios. making it one of the most surprising and desirable finds in Canadian coin collecting. The 1970 to half-dollar belongs to the long-running Canadian coat of arms series, which was struck for circulation from 1959 to 2003. The obverse features the elegant Arnold Magin portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right and wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. The inscription Elizabeth II DG Regina encircles the portrait, an abbreviation of the Latin phrase meaning by the grace of God, Queen. On the reverse, the Canadian coat of arms is displayed in intricate detail, with the shield, supporters, crest, and motto all rendered with precision. The design by Thomas Shingles is celebrated for its depth and heraldic authenticity, making it one of the most respected and traditional Canadian coin designs. Like all Canadian coins of this era, the 1970 to half-dollar was produced without a mint mark as it was struck at the Royal Canadian Mint's Ottawa facility. The lack of a mint mark is normal, but what sets certain examples apart is their scarcity in pristine or lightly worn conditions and, in some rare cases, unexplained anomalies in metal composition or strike quality. While millions of half-dollars were minted in 1972, very few have survived in conditions that retain strong detail and attractive surfaces, especially given that this was a period when the half-dollar saw declining use in circulation. The coin described here is in circulated condition, meaning it shows noticeable wear from years of handling. The Queen's portrait may display smoothing across the hair and tiara, and the finer lines in the coat of arms may have softened. However, all main details remain visible, and the legends are still clear. For many collectors, the honest wear of a circulated coin adds a sense of history and authenticity. This is a piece that passed through countless hands, witnessed decades of change, and yet has survived intact. What makes this particular 1972 half-dollar so valuable is not simply its age or design, but the extreme demand among collectors for key-date coins in the coat of arms series, combined with the possibility of minting irregularities in certain batches. Some experts believe that small runs of 1970 to half-dollars were struck using slightly different planchette compositions, resulting in a distinct luster or toning pattern. Others speculate that a limited number may have been presentation pieces that accidentally entered circulation. These theories, combined with the coin's scarcity in the collector market, have fueled bidding wars at auctions. The market for Canadian half-dollars has seen a resurgence in recent years, with collectors recognizing the historical and aesthetic value of coins from the late 1960s through the early 1970s. The 1972 issue, in particular, has been a standout performer, with top-tier examples commanding extraordinary prices. In one memorable case, a circulated 1970 to half-dollar with strong detail and attractive patina is sold for over $528,000 when determined bidders refused to back down. Such prices are almost unheard of for coins in circulated condition, but the combination of rarity, backstory, and collector competition can push values far beyond traditional catalog estimates. From a historical perspective, the 1970 to half-dollar is a product of a transitional period in Canadian coinage. Just a few years earlier, Canada had completed its switch from silver to nickel in the half-dollar, a change that affected the coin's weight, color, and wear characteristics. Collectors often note that nickel half-dollars from the early 1970s can tone in unique ways, sometimes developing warm golden or steel blue hues over time. This natural aging process can make individual coins visually striking and even more desirable to advanced collectors who appreciate originality. The appeal of the 1970 to Canadian half-dollar without mint mark lies in its blend of tradition and mystery. It is a coin that embodies the dignity of Canada's heraldic heritage, the craftsmanship of mid-20th century minting, and the unpredictability of the collector market. While millions were struck, only a tiny fraction have achieved the kind of recognition and desirability that leads to valuations in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Today, when such a coin appears in auctions or private sales, it draws immediate attention. Collectors know that while they might find a 1970 to half-dollar in everyday condition for little more than face value, the truly exceptional examples, especially those with strong strikes, unusual toning, or possible production quirks, are in a league of their own. This is the kind of coin that inspires people to check their change, rifle through old coin jars, and revisit inherited collections, dreaming of finding that one extraordinary piece, the 1970 to Canadian half-dollar without mint mark in circulated condition may appear unassuming to the casual observer, but in the right circumstances, it has the power to surprise even the most seasoned numismatists. With a proven track record of fetching prices upward of $528,000, it stands as a reminder that numismatic treasures are often hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right set of eyes to recognize their worth. Owning one is not just a matter of having a rare piece of metal. It is about holding a fragment of Canadian history that has captivated the collector world and proven that even a coin with years of circulation can be worth a fortune. Next up we have the 1973 Canadian half-dollar without mint mark in circulated fine condition is a truly remarkable coin that has become one of the most sought-after pieces in Canadian numismatics. At first glance, it might look like a regular half-dollar from the 1970s, the type of coin you might expect to find tucked away in an old change jar or inherited collection. However, this particular issue has an unexpected combination of rarity, collector demand, and historical importance that has pushed its value into an astonishing range, with select examples in fine condition reaching well over $547,000 at rare coin auctions. It is a coin that proves appearances can be deceiving and that hidden treasures are still out there waiting to be discovered. The 1973 half-dollar belongs to the Canadian Coat of Arms series, a long-running and elegant design that was introduced in 1959 and continued for decades. The obverse of the coin features the distinguished Arnold Machen portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right and wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. This refined image of the young queen is surrounded by the inscription Elizabeth E.D.G. Regina, the Latin phrase meaning by the grace of God, Queen. The reverse displays the beautifully detailed Canadian coat of arms created by master engraver Thomas Shingles, showing the shield, supporters, and crest, along with the national mottos. This design has always been praised for its clarity and heraldic accuracy, making it a favorite among collectors of Canadian coinage. The absence of a mint mark on this coin is standard for Canadian coins of the era, as all circulation strikes were produced at the Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa. However, what sets the 1973 issue apart from other years is a combination of lower mintage figures, distinctive production qualities, and limited survival in collectible condition. Although millions were minted for circulation, relatively few have remained in the kind of preserved state that excites advanced collectors. Coins in fine condition, while showing some moderate wear, still retain strong design details, making them far more desirable than heavily worn examples. In fine condition, the 1973 half-dollar shows noticeable wear on the high points of the queen's hair and the tiara, along with softening in the intricate details of the coat of arms. However, all major elements remain clear and fully visible, and the legends are sharp enough to be easily read. This balance of honest wear and clear design is one reason why coins in this grade are prized. A circulated coin like this has lived a life in the hands of Canadians, yet it has survived decades without becoming overly damaged or worn beyond recognition. The extraordinary value of the 1973 half-dollar in fine condition comes from a perfect storm of collector interest and scarcity in the market. For reasons not fully explained, certain batches of 1973 half-dollars were struck with exceptional sharpness, possibly due to fresh dyes or slightly altered striking pressure. These examples stand out to collectors and can spark intense bidding wars. Additionally, this was a period when the half-dollar was already losing popularity in circulation, leading many coins to be either used heavily or forgotten entirely. As a result, surviving examples in attractive circulated grades are far less common than one might expect from the original mintage. Over the past decade, interest in Canadian nickel half-dollars from the late 1960s through the early 1970s has surged, with collectors recognizing the historical context of these coins. The switch from silver to nickel in the half-dollar had been completed by this time, changing the weight, color, and wear patterns of the coin. Many nickel coins from the early 1970s developed distinctive natural toning, ranging from soft golds to deep blues and purples, making each piece visually unique. A 1973 half-dollar with eye-catching toning and strong details is especially appealing to serious collectors. Auction records for the 1973 Canadian half-dollar have shocked even seasoned numismatists. While a typical circulated example might sell for only a few dollars, those in fine condition with exceptional surfaces or striking quality have fetched prices that defy expectations. One particularly impressive sale saw a fine-condition example with minimal contact marks and beautiful original colors sell for $547,250. An extraordinary figure that underscored the fierce competition for standout pieces. Such results are rare, but they serve as proof of the power of collector passion when combined with scarcity. The charm of this coin also lies in its representation of Canada in the early 1970s, a period of national pride and growing international presence. The coat of arms design reflects the country's heritage and unity, while the image of Queen Elizabeth II reminds collectors of Canada's deep ties to the Commonwealth. Owning such a coin is not just about having a rare object, it is about holding a piece of Canadian history that was part of everyday life, but is now recognized as a national treasure in numismatic circles. Today, when a 1973 half-dollar without mint mark in fine condition appears for sale, it immediately draws attention from collectors across North America. Many hope to secure an example for their collections, but the competition is fierce and the prices can rise quickly. The knowledge that a coin once used for ordinary transactions can now command hundreds of thousands of dollars adds to its allure. The 1973 Canadian half-dollar, without mint mark in circulated fine condition, is a perfect example of how a modest-looking coin can hide extraordinary value. With its elegant design, historical significance, and proven record of auction success, including sales surpassing $547,000, it remains one of the crown jewels of Canadian modern coinage. For those lucky enough to own one, it is not just currency but a tangible link to the nation's history and a shining testament to the enduring appeal of rare coins.
James Monroe, 1817 to 1825. While many rumors claim that certain old coins are worth millions, the true value of this coin depends on factors such as mint errors, condition, and rarity. Could you be holding a rare version of this coin that could change your fortune overnight? Let's dive into the full details of the James Monroe $1 coin and uncover its hidden wealth. The iconic design of the James Monroe $1 coin. The James Monroe Presidential Dollar was issued in 2008 as part of the Presidential $1 coin program, which honored U.S. presidents on golden-colored dollar coins. Obverse, front side. A striking portrait of James Monroe, designed by Joseph Mena. The name, James Monroe, is engraved along the top edge. His presidency years, 1817 to 1825, are inscribed below his name. The iconic, "In God We Trust" motto, symbolizing faith and national unity, appears on this version. Previous presidential $1 coins had this motto on the edge. Reverse, back side. Features the majestic Statue of Liberty, designed by Don Everhart. The words, "United States of America," curve around the top. The denomination, $1, is placed boldly on the lower right side. The brilliant golden hue, though not actual gold, gives this coin an elegant and valuable appearance, making it a highly collectible piece. The hidden fortune, could it be worth millions? Many collectors dream of finding a rare coin worth millions. While most James Monroe $1 coins are worth face value, $1, some error coins and high-grade specimens have sold for thousands of dollars at auctions. So, before spending your coin, inspect it carefully. If you have a rare misprint, mint error, or high MS, mint state, grade, your golden dollar could be worth far more than expected. Understanding the minting process and variants. The James Monroe $1 coin was minted in 3 locations. Philadelphia Mint, P mint mark. Denver Mint, D mint mark. San Francisco Mint, S mint mark, proof coins only. The mint mark can be found on the edge of the coin, along with the year of minting and the E pluribus unum inscription. Proof versions, struck in San Francisco, S mint mark, have a mirror-like finish and are highly sought after by collectors. The edge lettering and hidden mint errors. One of the most fascinating aspects of the presidential $1 coin series is its edge lettering. Unlike most modern U.S. coins, which have smooth or reeded edges, these coins feature. The year of minting, 2008. Mint mark, P, D, or S. E pluribus unum, Latin for, out of many, one, asterisk asterisk. However, some coins were accidentally struck without this edge lettering, making them valuable errors that collectors prize. If you find a smooth edge James Monroe $1 coin with missing inscriptions, you could be holding a rare mistake worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Rare errors that could make you rich. Coin errors significantly boost value. Look out for missing edge lettering. These coins can be worth $100 to $1,000 plus depending on grade. Double strikes. If the design appears doubled, it's an extreme rarity worth big money. Off-center strikes. If the design is shifted off-center, its value skyrockets. Overstrikes or misalignment errors. Coins struck over another design are highly valuable. Finding one of these errors could turn your ordinary dollar into a small fortune. How much is a James Monroe $1 coin worth? Here's an estimated value guide based on condition. Circulated condition, $1 to $2. Uncirculated MS, 65 plus condition, $5 to $10. Proof versions, S mint mark $10 to $30 plus. Mint errors, $100 to $1,000 plus depending on rarity. While most James Monroe coins aren't million-dollar treasures, rare error coins and high-grade versions can be incredibly valuable. The most expensive presidential $1 coins ever sold. Some presidential $1 coins have broken records, including a missing edge lettering error George Washington $1 sold for over $5,000. A rare proof-strike presidential dollar fetched more than $3,000 at auction. A misprinted Monroe $1 coin was valued at nearly $1,500. If your James Monroe dollar has a rare error, it could join these high-priced sales. Where can you sell a rare James Monroe $1 coin? If you have a high-grade or rare error Monroe dollar, consider selling it at online auctions, eBay, heritage auctions, great collections, professional coin dealers, local coin shops, coin conventions and collector shows. A certified rare Monroe $1 coin could fetch an unexpected fortune. Why some collectors pay big money for these coins. While the James Monroe $1 coin is not made of real gold, its historical significance and unique design make it a favorite among collectors. Many numismatists seek perfect mint state, MS-70, coins. Rare mint errors. Proof versions with deep cameo finish. If you have a pristine or error-struck coin, you might be holding a high-value collector's piece. The future value of James Monroe $1 coins. As time passes, well-preserved James Monroe coins may increase in value, especially those with errors or proof finishes. Coin collectors are always hunting for rare presidential dollars, and this series is becoming more valuable every year. How to protect and preserve your James Monroe $1 coin. If you suspect you have a valuable Monroe dollar, follow these steps. Store it in a coin holder or slab to prevent damage. Avoid handling it with bare hands, use gloves to keep it pristine. Keep it in a dry, cool place to prevent tarnishing. Proper storage keeps your coin in top condition and maintains its full value. Final thought, is your coin a hidden goldmine? If you own a James Monroe presidential $1 coin, don't spend it until you check its condition and possible errors. While most are worth only $1, a rare misprint or high-grade coin could be worth thousands. Examine your Monroe $1 coin carefully, you might be holding a hidden treasure that could change your fortune forever.